Hey guys, today I wanted to cover a subject that's a little controversial and explain exactly what it is and what it isn't, and talk a little bit about this. And that subject is punishment, right? And the reason that this one came up is because I would say at least 3 times a week I get a call or a text, and the person says some version of this to me. They say, well, uh, Fluffy uh, poops in the house, and then he runs and hides. So I know he knows what he did. And so they do X, Y, Z. They whatever. They spank them. They rub their nose in it. They do whatever. They do this thing that they think is punishment, and but the behavior keeps happening. Right? They keep pottying in the house. They keep chewing on furniture or whatever. So I wanted to cover exactly what punishment is, what it isn't, and if you're going to use it, how to be effective. Although I also want to stress the importance of really concentrating on what you want to see, what you want to see more of. Some of my in-home people, like my regulars, you guys might be listening to this and being like, wow, I've never even heard Colby mention this. And yeah, I mean, it's not really like, I feel like my job as a dog trainer is comparable to being a teacher, right? And therefore, it's my job to show your dog and you what I want to see or what you want to see, and trying to make that happen more often. For instance, jumping on guests when they come in the house. Sure, you can correct them for that. You can punish them. You can do whatever, and maybe it'll happen less often. Great. Okay. I have no problem with effectiveness. What I have a problem with is when we employ this strategy that is definitely uncomfortable for the dog, but it does nothing to affect the behavior. And that's not okay. That's just useless. It's just useless. So, punishment by definition is something that decreases the frequency or likelihood that a behavior will occur. So if you have some strategy, whatever, insert strategy here, that you do it and therefore you see whatever the problem behavior is happen less often, you are effectively using punishment. If you are providing a consequence, but the behavior is still occurring just as often, if not, maybe it's even increasing in frequency or whatever, you are not punishing the behavior. Because that's the thing, you can only punish a behavior. You can't punish an animal. You can't punish a dog. You can only punish the behavior and make it occur less frequently. Okay, so some bad examples of punishment. I would say the worst and least fair for your dog is they do something while you're gone, maybe, or they do something in the past, like several minutes ago or even hours ago, and you punish them in some way. So like one thing I grew up around is like the rub their nose in it type mentality. So like they potty in the house, you take them to it, rub their nose in it, and that's supposed to teach them better or whatever. But your dog doesn't really experience things like time like that, I don't think. Like they don't. I'm not saying they don't have thoughts about the future and the past, but they don't live there. They're not. So like when they poop in your house 2 hours ago, and you come in and then like you take them to it, they don't know that you taking them to it has anything to do with them actually doing it. They can't relate it back to having gone in the house, and therefore they should not do that in the future, right? So that's a example of like just at best useless, at worst like borderline abusive. I don't know. I hate throwing that word around, but it's just not. It's not smart. It's not an effective strategy. But maybe a better example would be they begin to go, therefore you clap, and they go, what? What was that? And then you take them outside, right? So like that clap would be you adding something to the equation right, that snaps them out of actually going, and then you take them outside and they go and you reward that. So like in that moment, you provided something that made that behavior stop, and hopefully, if they realize that they can get rewarded for going outside, but that you kind of clap and surprise them anytime that they go inside, maybe that could be a better strategy. Another thing with punishment is you got to get good at reading your dog. I don't like using anything as a way to affect behavior that makes my dog look or feel like crap. If they go from like ears up, tail up, from this to, that kind of body language, like I don't like that. I do not like that. I can usually find a better solution than that. I'm not saying never, right? There's always reasons where that might be necessary, such as anything that saves their life. I mean, all bets are off at that point. But like as far as common behaviors, I don't want my dog to feel like crap over something. I just feel like I can usually find better strategies, and maybe that's where bringing a professional in can help you. So if you notice that some of the things you do make your dog go, kind of like they're worried or whatever, maybe that would be a good time to like call me or another professional and just bounce some ideas off of us and see what you can come up with. Again, I want to encourage you to concentrate on what you do want. So whenever somebody let's say it's the first visit, somebody calls me into their home, right? And they say, well, my dog is jumping on guests. Okay. And that's what you're here for. I need you to help me stop the jumping, right? For the next hour, I probably don't even talk about stopping the jumping. Maybe if there's like kids or elderly involved, like, okay, yeah, we got to take care of that. We got to keep everybody safe. But more than likely, I am going to talk about what you want instead, right? So, for instance, if I stopped the jumping, but they ran down the hallway and peed, that's probably not okay, right? So what do you want? Well, if what you want is for them to sit politely to be petted, okay, let's get the sit and let's reinforce that. Let's positively reinforce that. Let's reward that and make that happen more often. Regardless of whether we're talking about chasing cars that could end in, them dying, or something as simple as barking. As far as punishment goes, if I had to use it, the rule I live and die by is use as little as possible, but as much as necessary. So if there is something I can add to the equation that will stop that behavior in its track and hopefully decrease the likelihood that it'll occur again, I'll do it. But again, I would want to use as little of that as possible, and then try to find something that I do want to see more of and reinforce that. And then just really, really quick, depends on how deep into dog training you want to go, but there are two forms of punishment, okay? There is negative punishment, which is essentially withholding a reward or something that the dog wants. So something that they want, you cut off access to that to punish the behavior, right? So one example would be like my oldest son. If we say, hey, if you eat your peas, you can have ice cream, and then he doesn't eat his peas, well, he doesn't get ice cream, right? That's negative punishment. Positive punishment is more, remember these words like negative and positive. It's not like positive, it feels good, negative, it feels bad. It's negative because we took something away, right? And positive because we added something. So with positive punishment, that could be like for your dog, it could be like the example I gave of like clapping to snap them out of pottying in the house, before you take them outside and all that. You added something to the equation to stop that behavior, right? You could, get into like leash corrections or, any of those things. Anything that you add to the equation that stops that behavior is what that is. One thing I like to use when I have to use punishment is negative punishment, because like a dog like Cooper, right? He has many things that he loves, not just likes, loves, right? Frisbee being a prime example. So let's say we are out in the yard playing Frisbee, and I've thrown it a few times, and he's doing all these crazy tricks, and then I reward him, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's say I hold it in my hand and I ask him, or I give him the cue that he can come take it from me, right? So he jumps up and he accidentally nips my hand in the process of taking the Frisbee. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll take the Frisbee back and just put it underneath my arm and then just stand there like I can't even see him. So just kind of do that for anywhere from 15 seconds to a minute, right? If I'm actually hurt, which happens sometimes, if I'm bleeding a little bit, maybe I've got to actually go in the house and end the whole session. But generally speaking, for Cooper, just 15 seconds or so of just no more play. Not forever, but just no play at this point really drives home the point that, oh, okay, my behavior right there, even though it's an accident, my behavior right there, I better watch that next time, because it's going to stop play momentarily. And there's a lot of debate, depending on how, oh God, I hate it, but depending on how far into the weeds you want to get as far as dog training. There's a lot of debate on whether that's okay or should be used, or blah, 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 blah. And like, I don't know. I'm not going to weigh in on that. All I know is that's what I do. And I feel like in that case, it is much more effective in getting my hand bit far fewer times than it would be if I physically corrected him, yanked on the leash or whatever, like something from an e-collar or whatever. Yeah, just simply withholding that reward for a few moments is very aversive, not good to Cooper. He doesn't want to repeat that, right? And I feel like it's been a very effective strategy on me getting bit far fewer times while we're playing. So I hope that helped clear some things up, guys. If you're one of those people that says, well, my dog does this, and then he clearly feels bad, so he knows what he did. I want you to really examine that situation and try to be critical of your own opinion, and try to see, is that what is happening? Or is it because you're already mad and now your body language has changed and they're reading that, therefore they are a little fearful or a little worried? Is that what it is? Because in that case, you're probably not influencing their behavior. They're just like, oh boy, mom or dad's in psycho mode again, and like, that's not productive. Like, just, we can do better than that. So I hope that cleared some things up, guys. If you got any questions, please comment, and let me know what you think and how I can help. Thanks, guys.